I know we've talked about this before when we were setting up for this podcast. You said, what's the kind of the framework? And I was going through the framework with, and you were a little bit hesitant to go into your long CV because you have a very long CV. But I think the listeners deserve to know a little bit about you. They've already found out that you're the founder of PMA, which is the IPMA subsidiary of Austria. But you have a really glorious, wonderful past in project management. And I think that should be interesting. I think that doesn't just underline your legitimacy talking about this topic, but also makes you an interesting character. I like to call it the passion journey. If you were to give the listener kind of a synopsis of where you started off, what your background is, what would you tell them?
Well, I hope you'll have a little time. So, now what I think might be of interest for the listeners is the relationship between my professional development and the understanding of what a project and what project management is. Because in the early days, you see, after my studies at the University of Business Administration in Austria, in Vienna actually, I joined the Technical University, a construction management department there. And this was back in 1973, 74. And what I learned there was Netzplantechnik.
Yeah.
So
network diagrams.
Network diagrams.
Which I still
CPM,
love, and a lot of people don't use.
CPM diagrams and so on. This was the understanding of what's required in construction and what project management basically is all about. So it was one of the operation research approaches, methods. There was Warteschlangen theory and others. So very quantitative approaches to projects and to project management. And
very predictive is the word that PMI likes to use.
Yeah, correct. For predictive projects. But by definition, projects are socially complex, so nothing is predictive really. And so I guess in these early days, that was the understanding of what a project and what project management is. And this is how I was brought up with this topic. And later on, I moved to Georgia, and I worked at the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta, and also in the construction management department. So project management was applied in construction, in engineering, in R&D, so in more technical
and the technical
approaches.
Nature of it made the approach also kind of technical.
That's correct.
Quantitative, visual, reliable, that kind of stuff.
And what happened to me then was that in Austria, the engineering industry had, in the export business, had some problems, and the University of Business Administration, the Technical University, decided for the first time to develop an inter-universitarian program, which was called Project Management in the Export Industry. Mm-hmm. And they wanted me to be the director of this program. And I was not on the staff of the universities, but I did this as an external consultant. I developed this program, and for the first time, actually, we were talking about project management, not construction management. But still with this flavor of the technical orientation and so on. And only later on, when I became the board member of Project Management Austria, we applied in IPMA to organize the IPMA World Congress in Vienna.
When was that? That was in
1990.
Yeah.
And we had 2 years of preparation for that, and we were doing some brainstorming what could be the title of this Congress, and we were working on a flip chart, and there was project and management and so on. And all of a sudden we switched the order of the terms around and made project management to management by projects. So all of a sudden a new management paradigm actually to the approach that we say you can manage organizations by projects. And that meant that we're not only talking about technical projects anymore, but reorganization projects, marketing projects, and those required a different approach to management. So you are not working with CPM schedules there, but they were more open, more dynamic, more agile, I would say, in the terminology.
Also more integrated with the strategic vision and mission of the executives. Yeah,
correct. Because basically you are not doing contracting work for some other clients, but you are changing your own organizations by developing new products, applying new marketing approaches, reorganizing, and so on. So yes, it became more strategic, and then all of a sudden also project portfolio management became a topic, because you didn't look at a few contracts that you were performing, but at your total portfolio. And all of a sudden people said, well, they're not only projects, but they are larger things than projects. All of a sudden program management came in. So based on this new vision that you can manage organizations by projects, the whole field further developed. And that was really a milestone in my opinion, and contributed to perceiving projects differently and also approaching project management differently. In my opinion, what happened in the industry was that there's still today a very old-fashioned approach to project management, still looking at it from this very quantitative and technical viewpoint. And that means that you don't use the strength of project management really appropriately if you don't use a more comprehensive, more complex view on what projects actually are and how you have to manage and handle them.
You were a university professor and basically the academic vanguard of project management. So you had an interesting function. You have your own consulting company, Roland Gareis Consulting, which has been around for a long, long time. One of the first consulting companies that focused on project management and not on broad management subjects. Then you had one leg in academia, very, very strong, very active. Many, many years at the university, and then you were also the president and founder of PMA in Austria.
Yeah, I mean, PMA actually started the whole thing, and in parallel, I also did my consulting work starting in 1983, and only in 1994 I became professor at the University of Business Administration in Vienna, which is interesting. It's not on a technical university, but at a business university, and there aren't too many business universities still that have professorships in project management. But given that I was active with PMA, the university became aware, and I was teaching there already, but not with a formal professorship. And so in 1994 only I started to work in this position. And this was very helpful because on the one hand, there was the possibility, given that research was, of course, a topic, to further develop with a group of students the field of project management, and on the other hand, to transfer some of my experiences from consultancy to the students. So this was very synergetic. So I really appreciated these possibilities, and overall, I have to say I was very fortunate actually to get involved in this field, because as we see, and we'll talk about it a little later on, it's still further developing, right? And this is, as I say, fortunate, because very often you're stuck in some field which is not really moving.